Sige nga, for your legislation, what will you file related to Mindanao development?
Related to Mindanao and, yes, Ma'am Ami, related to Mindanao and peace, which I carry is a so-called Magna Carta on crisis, or the 3 C's on crisis, calamity, and COVID rehabilitation, which recognizes mental crisis, which recognizes war trauma, which recognizes calamity as we are second in the world. So we want to bring people back to normalcy po eh. Wala pong ganung framework by which from normal to abnormalcy, ibabalik mo sila sa normalcy. So I'd like to provide a framework po, ma'am, from my experience having spoken in Ukraine on refugee status. Sorry about what's happening to Ukraine, if I can put that in. So that would be something of a law or framework that supports rehabilitation of victims. And po, paano sa sunog, sa crisis, violence against women, war victims, paano po natin ibalik ang kanilang normal na estado po.
You spoke about your advocacies feeding each other. Is there anything about BARM and the BOL that you've found you've had to personally enlighten other candidates, including your candidate for president? I mean, something that you don't necessarily have to correct, but at least you feel that you can contribute in terms of, you know, framing it better for candidates who don't necessarily have the same background as you on
Yes,
these
Robbie.
issues.
Women, parang wala masyadong face yung mga kababaihan. Kaya again, parang being compelled to give a face to Muslim women. Hindi po kami discouraged to be in political. So the COMELEC code or the election code now that the BOL Bangsamoro government can draft is a way by which to show Philippine government that Muslim women pala can also form part of political parties. It's one of the greatest stereotypes of our whole Muslim and the whole world, that Muslim women are just, you know, masked. Nakanikab po kami eh. So, yeah, sabi niya, wear your properly because it should be fully covered daw, Samira. So parang that stereotype po that Muslim women can actually participate, and political party building is something I like to highlight to Isko kasi he talks about federalization or representation of islands, Cordillerans, Bangsamoro into the National Senate, into a national institution. And I think I appreciate that of him, and he has this foresight to see that we need a Senate that is representative more of the littler regions that is provided in the Constitution, the autonomous regions.
The Southern Philippines, from your perspective, if you do get into the Senate, what do you want to do in terms of legislation for the Southern Philippines?
Anti-discrimination bill endures when it'll make an impact on hiring. It'll make an impact for Manila companies, Visayan companies, urban centers to be able to hire from the far-flung. So I think that would be great to see our country hiring from the farther southern Philippines.
What exactly will be in that piece of legislation?
There's an active call for Muslims, for indigenous peoples, for people from the provinces.
Affirmative action.
Yes, po, affirmative action, and of course the LGBTs, senior citizens, even PWDs. Kasi ito po yung sectors that are recognized as, malayo po sa ating mga
You create incentives
formal
or there's a quota?
institutions. There's companies are given incentives, companies are encouraged, and so anti-discrimination bill actually provides that framework that we shouldn't discriminate based on gender, race, or gender creed.
Sam, balikan ko yung BARM. It has the lowest vaccination rate in the country.
Yes, Ma'am.
Are you planning to propose any law that should be incorporated into a pandemic exit plan?
That's true. That's why po there's this Magna Carta po, because it's also about prevention of disease, and that includes infectious diseases, COVID. So napakalaking bagay po sa vaccination drive natin in that law is to involve the religious leaders, Ma'am Ami. Malaki talaga in the hierarchy of influences natin sa Muslim region that Allah, God, is number one, not the state. So malaking bagay po that the MRLs, Muslim religious leaders, are part of a drive or educational forum or platform.
You think that's the problem now kung bakit napakababa ng, mataas yung vaccine hesitancy or talaga lang mahirap dalhin ng vaccine sa BARM?
It used to be that reproductive health was so unpopular. We really had to tap into the MRLs as a woman leader. So malaking bagay po that there is people who are actually telling us in the pulpit na dapat po yun ang encouragement.
What about women? It's still Women's Month.
Yes.
At the same time, this has been the past weeks have been a time to acknowledge the progress as
Yes,
well
po.
as the continuing challenges. What's your legislative agenda for women?
Well, nandyan na po yung mga CEDAW conventions po, nandyan po yung Women in Nation Building Act, the major push for companies to have affirmative actions on more promotions for women in the boards, companies. I was thinking along the line po that we can encourage the Commission on Audit to require the mayors, the LGUs, to really have a substantive GAD, Gender and Development. It's not just a token appointment, but really actively involving the men, because Women's Day is about men, educating also yung mga kalalakihan about their relationship, the inequality of it. So, nakakashock po to see a basketball star or some celebrity, binubugbog yung kanyang misis. I mean, these are part of our culture of violence that we need to fight as women, and so we need really the institutions that penalize or the institutions that should educate and also provide mayors that LG that hand na, uy, yung ira mo, hindi namin nire-release kung hindi ka strong yung GAD or anti-VAUSI education implementation, enforcement mo.
Where exactly is the weakness there?
The police officers, at the police level na po reporting and women don't report VAUSI. There's shame and embarrassment. Well, mag-isa yung babae sa bahay, nahihiya siya po ipubliko yung kanyang weakness or vulnerability. So we need to really have a support system as well. So if this oversight reminds agencies, if it's the PNP, DSWD, women's support groups, hotline, kailangan po all working together so that enabling po siya, hindi takot ang babae na mapupubliko siya or what kind of privacy concerns also are protected for a woman victim.